Hey guys, so today's video is not only a hair dyeing video, but also a clothing dyeing video. Recently I took in a commission, which I take them in like maybe once or twice a week. I don't do it a whole lot because between being sick and just being like super busy, I don't always have time. But I took in one this week for another golden strawberry poppy. And since I was already going to be dyeing her today, I figured I might as well dye some other stuff and go ahead and make this video. I actually get my trigger point injections today, so it's going to just be like a really rough week after this and harder to make a video. Figured I'll just cram it all into today. I promised you guys a clothing video a lot sooner and just hadn't really had time to do it. So we're going to actually be doing a couple of things. I had stopped by my local Target, and if you guys have been following me on Instagram, you've seen that my local Targets and Walmarts have had incredibly huge clearances. I'm talking almost all of the rainbow high dolls were like $13. My Walmarts had a Maya for $9, the series 1 with the white hair. So she was $9. I bought a ton of her. I got a bunch of poppies because they were on sale for like $13. Just massive sales, a ton of OMG dolls that were like $8. So I had stopped by yesterday just to kind of see what they had left. I pretty much bought everything, but just to see what they had. And I picked up a spare Skylar because I've been wanting another purple Skylar. Which I'd sold mine, and she was the cheerleader version, and I always kind of like regretted it a little. But the cheerleader versions aren't on clearance, the regular version is, so I thought I'd do a regular version of her purple. I picked up an extra Sunny because I feel bad. Like, Sunny's one of my favorites. She's really the one who got me into collecting, even though she was the second doll I bought. If you guys have kept up with my Instagram, like, you know, the first doll I got was series 1 of Maya. Her hair is terrible. I really thought about just like trashing her. Like, I washed it and it was still just so disgusting after multiple washes that I put her on a shelf and just never touched her again until like months and months later. And I finally took her down, dyed her hair, and it got rid of like the grossness, and now I'm in love with her. Of course, she's in my like top 3 favorite. But so anyway, it was one of those things where I picked up another Sunny because I felt bad. I only had like 3 of them. One of them was my red Sunny that I did a partial reroot on, and I'm not good at rerooting, so I just kind of kept her because she didn't look like mint. So I actually haven't kept most of the Sunnies that I've dyed. I kept this rainbow one recently, and I feel kind of bad. Like I said, Sunny's the one who got me into collecting, so I thought I'd do another one. I actually took a vote because I couldn't decide between maybe remaking either my Choco Banana Sunny or my Blue Phoenix Sunny. In the end, I decided neither. I really wanted a pink Sunny. I've seen other people do it, and I think it's really, really cute. I don't really have a girl who's in pink with the very dark, well, not even very dark skin, but the darker skin. I mean, I guess Avery. So I decided to do a pink Sunny, and I figured while I'm at it, I'm going to do a bunch of these clothes. Because I recently bought a lot of dolls, I sold off a lot of their clothes, but I did keep some just for this video. I also kept a bunch of these poppy boots. We're actually going to paint these. I have multiple pairs, but we're only going to paint 2 for today, and we're going to do those with spray paint because a lot of people, I think, missed the video where I did the spray paint video, or spray paint poppy boots for my burgundy colored crystal. So we're going to remake those. We're going to go outside and do that right quick, and then while it dries, we'll come in and dye the clothing. Alright guys, so we're outside. Here are the spray paints that I use. It's super important to make sure you shake them really well, and that you keep in mind that like it has to be the right temperature. It can't be humid, and it helps if you have something to keep them from falling over. But yeah, you need to make sure that it's not too hot outside, it's not humid, it's not too cold. A lot of things, or the spray paint won't dry right and it'll end up tacky. But I pretty much just kind of coat around them, and then usually I just chill and let them dry for like a couple of hours. I let it take its time just because I know that like it can't really be rushed. Here they are painted up. Alright, so we're back inside, and we're going to use the colors purple, and we're just going to do like a bath of that, and we're also going to be using the fuchsia. Same, we're just going to have a pan full of that. Those are for our single color items, the items that aren't being ombreed or mixed in any way. I usually put my stove on about a medium heat. Mine goes up to like, I think 10, so I put it on like 5 or 6. and then I just kind of squeeze a random amount in there. I don't really even measure them anymore because like I've done it so much that it's just kind of muscle memory at this point. So I just squeeze like however much I figure like. But honestly, you could probably do it with less. I think people do ask a lot, like in Facebook groups, do they need a whole pan of water? Do they need a ton of dye? Not really. I just do it because usually I'm dyeing a bunch of things, and as the pans are left on the heat, the water does evaporate over time. Alright, so here we're going to talk about the clothing we're going to dye. Everything's kind of a random mix, and everything takes the dye differently. I think that's very important to understand. So, for instance, we're going to dye this Skylar dress in the purple, and it doesn't take a lot of dye. It comes out like a very pastel color. It doesn't come out super, super dark. It's just a very light color. You can use these pleather items with the dye more, but it is going to stain your doll when they wear it. So I tend to just stick to going with the pastel colors that are offered by the RIT All-Purpose dye. And of course, like this is one of those things where the vinegar I think is very important because it helps the fabrics penetrate, or the dye penetrate the fabrics. These socks I haven't dyed before. I'm not really sure how they're going to come out. I think they're going to take the dye, but they are a synthetic fabric. This dress is the same. The overlayer doesn't take the dye the same as the underlayer. And a lot of times, like the straps get darker than the rest of the dress. So that's something to consider as well. Usually these denim items like coats and jeans, like Sunny's coat, Skylar's coat, all the jeans, they take the fabric really, or the fabric dye really, really well because they're like cotton mix. The shoes, it's kind of hard to say. They usually take the dye, but they're very similar in terms of the dress in that they just kind of stay very light pastel. Since these are already kind of a bluish purple, I don't know that they'll really even change. For the pink stuff, we've got Violet's dress. Now, usually the dress takes the dye really well, but the ribbons on it don't always take the dye. They just kind of stay pastel. So it likes to float and not actually sink, but yeah. So like the top ribbon, this purple one especially, usually just stays lavender. Sometimes the white ribbons will take dye. These hoodies, again, are cotton. They take the dye incredibly well. These shoes, I don't know if the fuchsia will do anything to them, but we're going to give it a try. And here's another one of those slip dresses. Same as before. It's going to take it differently at different levels. The straps may be darker than the rest. Okay, so we're also going to go ahead and pull Skylar up. Her hair's already been washed, so it's kind of heavy with the water. It should sink down really well. She is just going to be all purple because I know our hair's going to get purple differently. With Sunny, we're going to do fuchsia, but I think I might do a sink wash before I do the boil wash just to see how that color comes out. I'm not sure what color pink I want her just yet. With Violet, I don't really have any plans. Somebody said it'd be cool if we did like some scene hair where it's black with like maybe some pink streaks. So I think I'm going to give that a try by doing these silver strands as the fuchsia color and then doing everything else black. Of course, you guys know how I feel about RIT Black. It's kind of hard to get it to take, but we'll see. A lot of it's just picking all these little separate individual strands of hair out to color just the correct pieces, the color that we want them. It's very time consuming, as you guys have seen with Golden Strawberry Poppy. Alright, so the water should be good and heated up. I also like to tend to kind of take my time, give it time to soak in. I have this spoon that I use in order to make sure I can push the clothing down as well. You definitely want to use something that like you would never eat off of. Here's Skylar's dress, and you can see it's already kind of turning purple. And then like the jacket is easily turning dark purple, so is the dress. This spoon is actually just a bamboo spoon, by the way, that I'm using to pick up the clothing with. And I don't use it for anything else but like dyeing stuff or like pushing stuff down in the dye. So I'm trying to fish out some socks and shoes. The socks look like they're taking the purple. Now, I will say with some of these fabrics, they look good until you go to rinse them. And then all of a sudden, they're just absolutely like, the dye will wash straight out. I'm trying to fish out a shoe, but like, I'm not sure if this is going to work. They're kind of hard to like fish around for. But yeah, you just want to stir your clothes. I don't think these will be like necessary to leave in much longer. With Skylar's dress, you can leave it in quite a while and it doesn't get darker. Same with the shoes. For the pink bath, I don't know if I can find any shoes in here either, but the hoodie obviously has taken the dye incredibly well. It's very, very dark. It looks like the dresses are also taking the dye really well. No problems there. Because I was going to do Sunny's hair in the fuchsia, but decided to sink wash it first, it turned a little peachy for me, so I added a little bit of purple. And yeah, you can tell she's one of the later dolls because the rooting is really thin. But she came out this beautiful rose color. And so I'm going to keep her that color and let it be. I'm sorry I didn't record it. It was about 2 squishes of the fuchsia and 1 of the purple. And they were pretty big squishes, so I'd say, you know, if I had to make a measurement, I would say probably about 1/4 of a cup of the fuchsia and about 3 tablespoons of the purple. So the purple's really getting to a boil. I'm going to kind of turn it down because I don't want it to overboil. I've had that happen before when I was making a video and like spaced out and wasn't paying attention in the background to how like hot it was getting. And I'm going to go ahead and dip Skylar's hair in it now that it's good and hot. And you can tell like her hair is picking up the purple really, really well. So it won't take long for it to all be good to go. So again, I just want to move her around. I want to make sure that I get the side edges of her hair and around the back. Anything that gets on her like forehead or around her neck, I just kind of want to wipe it off right away or go over to rinse. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and rinse her because it looks like her hair is pretty dark. Okay, you guys, so I rinsed out the purple stuff already. I feel like this jacket and the satin dress took really well. They're about as dark as I want them, so I've gone ahead and rinsed them. I haven't done them in my dryer yet because I'm kind of going to wait and throw everything in at once. It only takes about 5 minutes for everything to dry. As far as this dress, it is purple, but I'm going to see if I can get it a little darker. Same with the socks. I mean, they are purple, but we'll see if they'll take. And the shoes haven't really done anything yet. But again, they weren't done for very long, so I'll turn the heat back up. Now we're going to check our pink stuff. Oh wait, before we do that, so Skylar's hair is pretty good in purple. I do feel like it's a little blue around the edges, so I'm going to dip her in a little more, and then I'll check our pink stuff. Okay, you guys, so here is the fuchsia dress. The other dress that we did in fuchsia, which is way cuter than I even expected it to be. But again, if you see, like the ribbons, the lavender ones didn't really dye at all. And the white ones, I mean, they're a very pale pink. It doesn't even look like it in the video, it's so pale. And then of course the hoodie came out super extra pink. And the shoes are starting to take the dye a little bit. We're going to throw them back in since we need that color later anyway. Okay guys, so it was my husband's lunch break. I usually don't film on his lunch break, like I spend my time texting him, talking to him. So I did a few things like during that time that I'll show you guys. I just now, like it's been like 30 minutes, stopped the purple dye. Here's how the dress turned out. I mean, it's a very lavendery purple. Like I said, it takes the dye, but it stays a pastel color. Even the green version that I've done, like any of the other versions I've done, stayed very light. The shoes really didn't do anything, but they match the dress better now. So, I mean, I guess that's a thing. The socks actually did go purple. This is my first time dyeing like this fabric of sock. But they just kind of, because of the colors that they dyed over on the rainbow, they just kind of look grungy, like dirty. I don't know. It's not my favorite look. I also went ahead and took violet, and I went ahead and did the fuchsia stripes in her hair that I wanted to do. Yeah, you kind of got to be careful with her bangs. I don't know if I'm going to remove them or not because it's kind of just like a pain in the butt. Alright, so the rest of it's going to be black, and it's going to be a bit of a pain to dip dye because if you guys noticed, Rit black is just not really that great. But we're going to go over it with black, and then if it doesn't get dark enough, put human hair dye over that because I found the combination of the two works really well together. Alright, so real quick, I'm about to start a new pot. I'm going to go with the indigo dye. And like I said, I just kind of like squish some out in there. I don't really even measure it anymore. It's just kind of one of those things I'm able to do kind of by feel, muscle memory, I don't know. But we're going to be doing another one of these dresses. I know, like I bought so many poppies, and the only things I didn't get rid of were their hoodies and their dresses because I think I love those a lot. And then I'm just going to turn these into some like actual dark blue denim blue jeans. These much like her coat, like any of the stuff that's like this kind of cotton denim dyes really well and pretty quickly. Now, as far as the pink stuff goes, the only thing I had left in were the shoes. They're actually still sitting in there. One was kind of turning pink darker than the other, but because I have to keep that pink going anyway for the strawberry poppy that I'm doing, I'm just gonna let them sit for as long as possible and see how it comes out. All right, real quick, I'm gonna move some stuff around and I'll be right back with you. All right, so I only have like an hour and a half before I have to go get my shots, and this is a lot to finish in that amount of time. But the indigo, honestly, was really quick. I mean, it wasn't in there maybe not even 5 minutes. Like, I turned around, turned back, and boom, they're good to go. So I'm gonna go throw all this stuff in the dryer in a bit. I do want to talk right quick about something while I've got some stuff going, because I've still got the indigo dress. I think it can still go a little darker, because when I rinse it out, it's not quite this blue, it's a bit paler. And I've still got the fuchsia shoes in the background doing a thing, because I'm going to need that color later. But I did want to talk about some things that people don't really see that goes on in this. So first of all, there are days when I dye anywhere from $5, $10, $15 or more in a day. And in doing so, that means my stove is on all day long. I'm running hot water all day long. So it definitely jacks up my electricity bill. My husband has been like so supportive, but like, I know in my soul that I'm like causing problems, because yeah, it definitely runs up your electricity bill. You know, I destroyed our what is it called? Food muncher you guys. Garbage disposal. I destroyed our garbage disposal because doll hair got caught in it and kind of burned up the motor. And yes, it was really old to begin with. It was in this house before we moved here, before my husband even bought this house. So a long time ago, and we needed a new one anyway, but it wasn't the greatest thing. So definitely make sure you're not letting hair go down your disposal or reaching in to get out. Make sure like everything's off first, obviously. But yeah, so you are running up your electricity bill. I mean, you're already paying for dye, which is expensive, dolls, which are expensive, the gas, tune from the city, because I live like way out in the country. So everything's at least 20 to 30 minutes or more away. So, you know, there's gas, there's just so much that goes into this that people really don't see. And even when I sell stuff on my Instagram, I usually sell it like dirt cheap. Like, I'm not paying eBay fees and Etsy fees and all of that. And I don't even charge people for the PayPal fees. Like, that's the thing. I don't charge them for the constant having to go and pick up like shipping supplies, envelopes, boxes, whatever. Like, I eat all of those costs, plus I run up all my bills. I don't even charge that much for commissions. I'm probably going to have to fix that soon, because I don't know that I'd be able to keep like affording doing this otherwise, because I have other stuff in my life I probably want to pay for, like more dolls. But yeah, so I mean, I just want to say, like, if you decide to do this, it does get really expensive. It is really time consuming. Like, there are days where I'm dyeing so many dolls at one time that I'm literally in here like 8-12 hours. Like, it's a long time. It's not, it is quick. Like, most of the dolls take dye pretty quickly, but stuff like this golden strawberry poppy, it took me 4 hours to dye 3 of them, because after I got the initial dye, in order to do those streaks, I have to sit there and comb out each individual strand with like a toothpick, picking out just specific colors that are going to get dipped, and it takes a really long time. So definitely when you're going into this, like, I want to be realistic, because I know that when I cut the video and I put it all together, it looks very fast, like everything's done in 45 minutes, $15 if I had eye swaps and hair dyes and all of that, but it's actually very time consuming, very expensive, and I just wanted to be really upfront and realistic about that for anybody who's considering getting into this. So now I'm going to dump these clothes in the dryer right quick, and I will be right back. Okay guys, and that's the thing I forgot to mention as well, is that I constantly have like my dryer going, because I have to dry all these clothes afterwards. But alright, so here is our commissioned puppy. She's already got her new eyes that the owner wants in. We're going to make sure to remove all of these rubber bands out of her hair, because you don't want to heat them up and have them like risk melting to her hair. And then we've got our plain hot water running with no dye in it. We're going to dip her in, and then once her head is nice and squishy and soft, we'll take a fork, we'll slide the tines around the base of her butterflies and pop them out, just like I've shown you guys in previous videos. So give me just a second to do that, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so while all of the clothes are in the dryer, we have, I just flung water everywhere. This lovely poppy we're doing on commission, so we're going to do it just like we did the other golden strawberry poppies, but we're also going to be dyeing some clothes. Now, I have never been lucky enough really to get these two pieces to take much in terms of dye, but I've had several friends who have shown that it will go yellow, so we're going to give it a shot. I don't think I have the dye more yellow, even if I were to use dye more, although I tend to avoid it. I also tend to warn other people to avoid it. So we're going to use regular yellow and see if it works. But because yellow and purple tend to cancel each other out, I'm just going to let you know if it works at all. I'm kind of just expecting like an awful gray color. So here's what we're going to dump in there. We're going to dump another one of these rainbow high hoodies in there, because I feel the need to have one in every color at this point. We're dumping Violet's fur coat in there. Now, you guys have seen it before. Those fur coats, especially Stella's, like I cannot get Stella's to take color for anything. But I have seen people take and get Violet's to take color. Same with this dress. I've tried both and nothing happened. So we're going to see. Maybe I'm just not leaving it in long enough. Maybe I'm not getting it hot enough. I'm also going to try a pair of Violet's socks just because I'm curious as to whether or not it would work. Now, there are a couple of things I'm going to do right quick. Now that I've got that sitting in there, and I still have my fuchsia, I'm going to go ahead and run the indigo sink bath that goes in her hair for in between, so that we can swish it in the blue. Then we'll run a quick fuchsia sink bath, swish that, then get back to dyeing. So you guys can easily refer back to my last video where I showed how to do the strawberry, or the golden strawberry poppy for more details, but I'm going to run through those right quick and get right back with you. Okay guys, real quick, I just want to drop a note about neutralizing colors. And this is something that if you're familiar with the color wheel, you already know this concept. But for those who aren't familiar, let me just toss it out there. So if you've ever dyed your hair blonde and it's kind of turned out like a really like orangey or reddy blonde, like it's just too orange, a lot of people will try to use a toner. And what a toner is if it's too yellow and you're trying to get this ashy, like lighter, almost grayish color, you would use a purple. Or if it's too orange, you would use a blue. So that's kind of the same thing. Now, the color wheel does not always apply when dyeing doll hair, because all of this nylon, like we don't know what colors they use to get the specific colors they have to begin with, but it doesn't always work the way you think it will. As you guys have seen in my videos on Facebook, on Instagram, if you follow all of that. And for other people, it doesn't always work. Like a lot of people go in thinking, oh, I know the color wheel, this is going to be easy. And then their doll comes out garbage and I can't figure out why. And it's just really because of the doll hair itself. We don't know what went into making the color that it currently is. So it can be hard to find a balance. Also with Rit dye, they don't always take the way you think they would. Like when I tried to dye something the palest pink, which is rose quartz, and it looks like a very clear, cool toned pale pink on the package. When you put it in the sink, it's almost orangey, and it comes out more of a coral color than pink. So you've got whatever you're starting off with, you've got whatever dye you're using, might not always be the same. Hyacinth looks periwinkle on the package, is purple in the sink. I mean, it just mixes differently, so that's a thing. So to get this golden color on Poppy, once we've dipped her in the yellow, it just makes her bright orange. Like, it does not take her to this golden tone. Next, we do that sink wash in that indigo blue, because what that's going to do is it's going to neutralize that orange and make it this golden yellow. But Poppy's hair is made up of multiple colors. This is what was originally orange. What was originally pink has now turned this kind of dingy green color. We neutralize green by using pink or red, usually red. You've probably seen, there's someone, I know his name is Paul, I can't remember much more than that, but he is in the Facebook groups, and he has shown that he can take Bella's pink hair, use human hair dye in the color teal, and get the most beautiful shade of blonde you've ever seen. And again, it's because he's cross-canceling out that color. So that's what we're about to do here. We're going to cancel out this green by giving her a pink sink wash, and then we're going to take these and make them even more pink and less green by doing them specifically dipped in the fuchsia. This color can stay as it is, or you can do one more dip in the yellow. It's up to you. I don't think it makes like a super huge difference. Like, I've tried it both ways and they both come out looking about the same. So I'm going to do that right quick and be right back with you. Okay guys, so now that I've gotten her like rinsed in the strawberry or the fuchsia sink wash, you'll see that the sections that were green have just turned like a light brown color. Basically, that fuchsia wash toned all of the green out of her hair, so you could technically leave it right here and just leave her with like a golden blonde with light brown streaks. It'd be perfectly fine, but that's not what the customer asked for. She specifically wants the golden strawberry poppy, so now this is where it gets hard. I have to sit there and go through her hair and pick out all of the darker strands, because those are the ones who are going to get dipped in the fuchsia. All of the golden strands stay as is, and this takes forever. This is why she cost a bit extra. Really, a lot of them did on this last round, and I'll probably keep those prices. People seem comfortable with them, but it is really because it's so time consuming to sit there and pick out every little section of strand and dip just that strand in the fuchsia, then rinse it, then go back and pick out the next set of strands, dip it in the fuchsia, rinse it, etc. So I better do this right quick, and then by then the clothes in the dryer should be done. Our shoes are probably long done, and we will go out and check them probably after this. Okay, so golden strawberry puppy is finished. We've got all of her like lovely strawberry stripes in there. Next up, the socks came out yellow. The orange hoodie came out like a really dark yellow. In person, it almost looks like a tan, but you have to remember that they will dry lighter than they look wet. I used the coral to get this sweet little peach jacket for the peach girl when she comes out. Was it Georgia Bloom that we've been seeing leaks of going around the internet? And then what else? So the coat and the dress of violets did not come out well. I've put them in a different batch of dye for something else, a different color. We'll see if that works. These shoes in the fuchsia honestly came out really weird, almost orangey, and one dyed darker than the other. So I've also done them in another batch of dye to see if I can get them to come out slightly better. And now I'm going to go pop these little things in the dryer, and I'll be right back with you. Alright guys, here's everything so far, including purple Skylar and rose pink Sunny. So my son actually just graduated and started working a few months ago, like back at the end of May. And so I saw this Barbie and I really liked her dress, and he bought her for me the other day with one of his first paychecks. So I kind of just took that as inspiration and dyed her hair as close as I could to matching it. It's still a little off. Maybe I'll go over it in the future. I don't know. And then here are the things that were in the fuchsia. Now, of course, this looks more pink in person, but it kind of looks reddish orange on camera. And that's because it started off a peach color. So like I said, the colors do get affected by it. Like, this looks really red on camera, but it looks really pink in person. Alright, here are the purple items. So you can see what they look. See, the socks just kind of look gray. I don't know, they just look kind of dingy, so I probably wouldn't bother dyeing them again. And then here are the indigo items. Indigo is probably becoming one of my favorite colors out of all of the RIT dyes. And then, of course, we have the strawberry, or golden strawberry poppy, who is finished. And I'm probably going to take a blow dryer to her here soon, just so that I can have her packaged up and shipped out today. I like to do return day shipping on all the stuff that I do commissions on. Like same return day or like next day. Okay guys, so I'm not going to get to finish this video before I go to the doctor's, which means that you'll probably see the rest of it when I come back. Maybe I'll be wearing something different, who knows. But these are all items done in the RIT Dye More that I highly recommend against. I used it because I wanted to show that it does work, but it also does stain, as I've shown you previously. It will stain your doll's skin with long-term wear. I personally won't put any of these items on my dolls. Like, if I put shoes on them, it's gonna have socks under it. If I put the clothes on them, I'm gonna definitely like plastic wrap them. And real quick, here's everybody pretty much dyed and dressed and mostly dried. I'll definitely show more of them when I get back. Hey guys, so this is actually day 2 of this video. I had to rush out yesterday to my trigger point injection appointment for pain management, and I didn't get to finish. I did want to show you guys everything that like I'd finished dyeing and how the results came out. So I'm actually just kind of hanging out here on the bed today. No ring light, no anything special, so I look like doo-doo, but that You know, there are just days like that. But right quick, I'm going to go over each and everything I dyed, what I used, especially with the clothing. I'm going to show you how those painted boots turned out, how the dolls turned out, and see what you guys think. Okay, so first off, these are the clothes that I dyed with the regular RIT all-purpose dye. This dress was indigo. Okay, so these are the pieces that were dyed with regular RIT dye, and you can tell this dress actually takes dye really well, which strangely enough, Sunny's dress does not take dye as well. This dress, which is Skylar's dress, took dye pretty well. They still come out very pastel-y, no matter what you use or how dark it is. Stuff like the hoodies, the denim pieces, like jackets and jeans, all dye really well. The socks actually took dye, which surprised me. I didn't think they would. Now, I also did these jeans and this hoodie that you can see my rainbow jade wearing. Those were also done in the regular all-purpose indigo. They dyed just fine. These shoes were part of the stuff that I dyed using the RIT Dye More. Everyone always asks me about it. I always talk out against it, but I'm going to tell you guys why. So I dyed some stuff with it, really just to kind of show you guys it does work. It works great on everything. Here are other shoes. This dress is notoriously hard to dye otherwise. These coats almost never take dye. And honestly, Stella's still doesn't, even with the Dye More. These shoes came out really cute with the RIT Dye More. They really didn't do much of anything when I tried to dye them with the all-purpose. These socks, which came out grungy with the all-purpose, went black with the Dye More. And these are actually a pair of Poppy's boots that I did with the Dye More in some black butterfly style. Now look, the thing about these, they absolutely do stain. You're going to see people on Instagram who have used Dye More, and they're going to swear Dye More doesn't stain. It absolutely does. I actually dyed Poppy's outfit, her orange pleather outfit with the Dye More, and I dyed it brown. It absolutely stained the ruby I put it on. It doesn't matter because a new body on AliExpress is like 10 bucks. But like even these shoes, I tried them on for like a quick second. And I put socks underneath them because I didn't want to risk them staining my dolls. When I say a second, I mean literally put them on, looked them over, took them back off, and they stained the socks already. So do not let people tell you that Dye More does not stain. It stains your dolls, it stains the clothes, and it's going to like stain your doll when you use the clothes on your doll. So for any of these pieces, while it was just an experiment, if I were to use them, I would absolutely put plastic wrap underneath them so that they didn't come in direct contact with my doll's skin. Alright, so here is the Sunny that we did with the rose-colored hair. I think it came out really pretty. I ended up pairing it with this dress, and I didn't really have shoes that I loved with this. So I put on the boots that I painted yesterday. These are the copper color. And then they have like a glitter overlay on them because they're very like disco boots, I swear. But yeah, so there's her color of hair. It ended up being, like I said, a mixture of the fuchsia and the purple. The purple kind of toned out the yellow, allowing the fuchsia to make just this very pretty soft pink. This was a sync dye, so of course it's a very subtle color. And I was able to keep her bangs pretty much how they were out of box. Next up, we have Purple Skylar. She also has clothes that were dyed by the RIT All-Purpose dye. If you look, like the top of her hair, where the lighter blue is a much more pretty purple, whereas the color that was really, really blue is just kind of a very dark purplish blue still. I guess indigo, really. Of course, I've already given her ruby's eyes. I've already done eye switches, so like Sunny has crystals, she has rubies. And then here are the silver boots I painted. Then last but not least is the violet. Her hair is in a dark gray color. It's actually the RIT Dye More. Again, like I was super careful and tried never to get this anywhere near her skin. But I do worry about her hair, like even touching her face. I was really lucky not to get any on her skin, but I've just been keeping her hair away from her face because I don't trust it. So it's a mixture of this graphite gray and then some of the darker purple areas turned like this really cool grayish blue. I added some fuchsia streaks in there. She has actually her own original eyes, surprisingly enough. So now her dress was done with the RIT All-Purpose. The jacket was actually done with the Dye More. And if you look, I absolutely do have the plastic wrap underneath it. At one point, I kind of squeezed her arm on it, like just pressed it like this, pulled it off, and it had started to like rub off on her arm, so I immediately wiped it off and it didn't leave a permanent stain. But dyeing this pleather and putting it against their skin will absolutely stain if you don't have something underneath it. So she does have plastic like saran wrap to keep it off of her skin. And then she's just got some Stella's shoes. I do love her hair, but I am, of course, really nervous about the dye more. So that's everything. So other than that, I mean, there was the golden strawberry poppy, but she was immediately on her way to her new home. Like, I even made sure to leave for my appointment early to stop by the post office. Anytime I do a commission, I really like to try and have the doll back, usually like the next day, like back in the post. Sometimes if I have a bad pain week, like it'll take like 4 or 5 days, but I don't like to take too long on commissions because I feel like if you put things off too long, it gets to the point where it starts to overwhelm you or you feel overwhelmed by it or anxious by it, even if it's not like realistically necessary to feel anxiety by it. And then I feel like you end up putting it off like a lot longer. And that's how a lot of like these Etsy businesses and stuff get in over their head. They take too much on and then they can't like fulfill it. And I just never want to be that person. So I only take like 1 to 2 commissions a week, if I even have time. And then I try to get them back out like immediately so that like it's done. I've held up my part of the bargain. They've got their doll by like a couple of days later. It's all good. I will say, like, I have started to slow down on taking commissions just because of the health problems. They've just been really bad this summer for some reason. But if you'd be interested in a commission, you can DM me on Instagram. Funny enough, like, I don't know what this is about, but Instagram is doing this thing now where it'll only allow some people to DM me. Like, some people, it'll tell them I have to be following them for them to be allowed. But then other people who I don't know, I'm not following, whatever, are allowed to DM me, and it'll go to like my request box, but it'll be dumb stuff like, oh, you know, tag us if you want, or email us if you want to collaborate, like from companies or whatever. So I don't know what that is, like how come they're allowed to get through, or like sometimes it'll just be random people asking questions who follow me, but I don't follow them, and they'll go to my request box, but then other people, it's just like completely denies them. So whatever Instagram has going on there, I don't know. If you have trouble at any point DMing me, just comment on any one of my pictures and let me know, and I'll DM you first so that it goes through. But I did just want to get that out there if you're interested. Like I said, I don't take a whole lot of them, but I get asked a lot if I'll take any, and I do. They aren't terribly expensive, like easily like $50 or less, even for the more complicated stuff. I am probably going to have to raise my prices a little because at this point, like, I'm probably more in the hole from doing it than I'm actually making anything. Because even though I said last time that I made like $4 profit on that one lot, I really didn't if you think about how much I ran up my electricity bill. So there's that. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the clothing dyeing and seeing like why I really don't use dye more and tricks to keep your dolls safe from any clothes you do decide to use dye more on. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully next week I'll be able to do that hairstyling video you guys have asked me about. It's kind of like that TikTok thing where the lady's like, I've only got 3 looks. And yeah, like that's kind of me. I've got ponytail, wrapped ponytail, and half up, half down ponytail. But I will show you how to do a kind of like an invisible part where you add a part line where there's not one. And some stuff like that. So yeah, join me next week for that video, and yeah, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, all that stuff, and I will see you guys then.